Hello, hi there. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. This is the first of 3 podcasts of a project called You, Me, the World and Poplar. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Nick. I am one of the founders of Take Stock Exchange. Take Stock Exchange is a community storytelling company, which means we try to build connections, empathy and empowerment using storytelling and conversation. I'm going to tell you stories. I hope you're comfortable. Now, before we get going, I have a question for you. Feel free to answer it out loud. Maybe you're sitting with someone, you could have a chat, or just answer it in your head. Okay, here's the question. When you think about the place Poplar, what do you feel? The stories you're about to hear are from when we visited some groups of people who are connected to Poplar and asked them questions about it. We usually meet in person, going to meet groups in community centres, schools, libraries, wherever they meet. But this time, the time of this project, we couldn't. So we met them all remotely. Oh, before I get going, I've just got one more question for you. If Poplar was an animal, what animal would it be and why? Okay. Part 1. People and animals. It's 1 p.m. on Wednesday the 7th of October 2020. Just take a moment to picture this. We are on a Zoom call. By now I'm sure you know what that looks like, but if you're not familiar with it, Zoom is some software that helps you make video calls on your computer, phone, tablet. We're using a laptop. Faces sit in little boxes on the screen. We are with Men's Cabin. Now, the Men's Cabin are a group of older men. They used to meet in person every week to chat about anything, but they've been meeting on Zoom in fewer numbers than before, but still on a weekly basis. In one box is a balding man with a beard. He wears a bright blue jumper. He sits in a big puffy brown leather armchair and his voice is somewhere between a purr and a growl. There's another man who has a moustache and he sits with the right side of his face very close to the camera. He has a northern lilt to his accent. The third and final man is clean shaven. He has black hair and black rimmed glasses. He sits bent over with the left side of his face very close to the camera. He has one ear towards the screen. He's got what I can only describe as a Doc Cotton voice. Thanks, we say. We explain that we're meeting different groups of people around Poplar and we're going to ask them questions and then share their answers with each other. And we ask our first question. What do you call this area? The clean-shaven man says, well, we're within 200 yards of each other in Jolly's Green, but to outsiders it's Poplar or Popular, as some people call it. The man with the moustache adds, yes, some people call it Popular, actually. I think that might be a Jewish thing from the past. I think possibly, yeah. I think it might be Yiddish, possibly. I mean, I'm making this up. I don't know. Although, one of my old Cockney friends used to call it Popular. At this, the clean-shaven man, he puts 2 thumbs behind the straps of 2 imaginary braces. He pumps his elbows rapidly into the air, impersonating a Cockney geezer. We chuckle at him. So, we ask, Poplar it is. Here's a question. Is Poplar a great place to be? I will start, says the man with the moustache, with his gentle northern accent. The right side of his face is still very close to the screen. This morning we walked over the A102M. 3 minutes further on is the River Lee. We saw cormorants, a heron, a kingfisher this morning, and that's in Poplar. So, despite the traffic and the pollution, we still have a lot of wildlife in Poplar. The man with the beard in his purring, growling tone says, "When I get the chance, I go up the Grand Union Cut, I think it's called. It runs from near the River Lee, through the Grand Union Canal, and you've got lots of wildlife up there." After the other two men have offered their thoughts, it's the turn of the clean-shaven man. He leans his face closer to us, looking over the top of his thick black glasses down the lens of his camera. "I was born in the centre of London, and places like Hoxton have totally gone one way, and I think that Poplar is on the cusp of doing that kind of thing. Are local people going to have the opportunity to shape the agenda of what's going on, or is it going to end up a faceless area with blocks of flats? Obviously, I'm an older person. You go down places where I used to live, these were traditionally working class areas, and now people move into them because there is a diversity of people there, and from that diversity breeds, what's the word? Character. Character. And that's something you can't build into a place. And Poplar is on the verge of presenting a new character for itself. I'll give you an example. If you go down Alberfeldy Street, you'll see they've painted all the buildings, and it's pretty jazzy, and it's trying to create a South Bank artisan-y atmosphere, and they have painted it there, you see? The tail is wagging the dog. They're trying to make somewhere look colourful when in fact it's the people from different communities coming together and expressing ourselves that makes the place have character in the first place. It worries me that a lot of the ideas to get people involved can be superficial and not tap into the real communities that are here and lean too much on the people that are coming into the area. The other two men, they can be seen in their boxes nodding and agreeing. The purring, growling man adds, "I've lived here 40 years, but the money people don't want us to mix with them because we're not good enough for them." The northern man says, "People are moving away. The young people can't afford to live here. There is no social housing, so people have to move out further east where it's cheaper. Tower Hamlets used to be 80% council housing, now it's all fragmented. Housing for investment and gated communities, the whole social economic situation has changed." The conversation moves on. The clean-shaven man is now holding court. "I've been moved to a new flat. I'm very, very lucky. It's the best social housing I have ever had, and I worked in social housing for 20 years. I'm very lucky. And when I look into my neighbours' houses with my binoculars," the other men start chuckling at this, "when I look into my neighbours' houses with my binoculars, I find they are all young professionals. And the thing about young professionals is they can move about a lot. They're not interested in the local community. They have no roots. It's important to get people who have bought their own places more involved. Perhaps they don't have the time or the inclination." Through chuckles, the man with the moustache adds, "I've got this vision of him now, with his binoculars looking into everyone's houses." The clean-shaven man picks up a monocle which he had on his desk. He places it in his eye and stares right down his nose at us. "I can come out the closet now. I am actually Lord Poplar of Poplington, and I'm here to stake my claim on my country estate. So, yeah, there you have it. By Jove, by Jove." The other two men cackle. Having removed his monocle, Lord Poplar of Poplington asks, "I don't know if you've seen the dog painted on the side of the building on the way to All Saints Station?" "The Chihuahua," says the purring, growling man. "Yes, and I am very aware there's a lot of older people who are very scared as to what is happening. You are taking away their homes, and you're taking away their way of life quite literally. The carpet is being pulled from under them. Just as an example of this, what they have done has painted what can only be described as a yuppie dog with a diamond collar." There's more cackles from everyone. To me, this signifies decadence and money. At the thought of having this pampered pooch, it didn't really reflect the community at all, and I thought, have you listened to anyone? It worries me. There are designers with designs on the area that don't reflect the local character, that want to reflect a trendy place to come and live for people coming in than people who are already here. We are at a crossroads where it can go one way or another. The tail can't wag the dog. You can't implant an area and make it different to what it was. It has to evolve from the people that are here. It could do that. Or it could be another corporate reflection of Canary Wharf. So, this is the Northerner speaking now. Are the money people going to decide on what happens, or are the local people going to decide what happens? Money usually wins, but there's a long tradition of people fighting their corners in this area, going way back to the dockers in the 1890s. You were there, weren't you? The clean-shaven man laughs. Course I was. People here hold on to what they have, and why shouldn't they? I have no middle-class aspirations. I'm a working-class lad, apart from the monocle. I don't want to own my own house. It will be nice to have a few cinemas. I like trees. I like living in a nice house. That doesn't make me middle class. We can integrate cinemas and not make it something superficial. When money is involved, you get middle class, probably white, probably male, probably of a certain age. They rise to the top and control the agenda. Perhaps they have the education and the confidence to say what they want and how they want it. What I don't want to see is the progress of this area to be hijacked by a group of people who have just moved in or are moving in and turning it into the playpen of the rich. They need to get in the hub of the community, and for that you need inclusion. And with that, our time is up. The three men warmly say goodbye to one another, things like see you next week, see you soon, and they invite us back to join them anytime. We're back on Zoom. The first young person logs on and holds his camera very close to his face. The view goes from his eyes to his mouth to his nose as he moves around the room in his home, and we can hear him sniffle. It's 5 p.m. on Thursday the 12th of November. We're on Zoom with one of the youth clubs from the Spotlight Youth Centre. The organiser of the group, she sits with the camera right in front of her and she's looking directly at us. She has this perky voice and disarming smile which is framed by her tight curly hair and round glasses. As each young person enters, she engages them, and the first one is the teenage boy. She asks him a few questions. How's it going? How's second lockdown treating you? Are you going to work on your music? The boy cheerily gives short one-word answers. Each time he agrees with something, he laughs boldly and flings his head back in his chair and shouts yes in a way that's almost like he's singing it. It's infectious, and soon everyone in the chat is just kind of laughing. A second young person logs on. He sits far from the camera, his crisp white t-shirt standing out against a wall behind him, which is covered in stickers positioned to look like bricks. It's the background he uses for his YouTube channel, he tells us, speaking deliberately, his accent sitting somewhere between a youthful London one and a West African one. The last person to join keeps her camera off. She occasionally turns it on to say things. She types in the chat, "Sorry, bad connection." She sounds as though she's walking outside somewhere. "Look," says the boy with the white t-shirt to the boy with the big laugh. "After our conversation last week, I was at the market and I bought this hat for you." He puts on a white bucket hat, just as crisp as his white t-shirt. The other boy puts his eye to the screen and laughs. The person with the camera off turns it on to say, "Look, your very own cowboy. We asked the group, do you feel connected to other people in Poplar? The boy with the white hat tells us, it's one of those areas where you don't feel alone. It's very diverse. You've got every race here, and also the college I went, talking about diversity, it was very open, accepting and stuff. So for me, it's kind of peaceful here as well. Even though you hear all these stabbings, you don't have much of these cases or haven't had any recently. I feel very safe, especially with the youth centre. For me, the diversity, and also I feel like it's safe. Now it's the turn of the boy with the big laugh. There's a pause and he smiles, but he doesn't say anything. The organiser suggests he types his answer in the Zoom chat, which he does. Poplar is a great place to be, appears in the chat box, and he laughs loudly. The woman on the move writes, it seems like lots of people know each other and there's lots of families in the same area. The boy types, it seems like so many people have known each other for so many years, and he laughs again. The boy with the white hat speaks. There's a sense that we know ourselves, like the people who live in my building are a family, where we support each other. I remember the day my dad had a big wardrobe and it was big and heavy, and my dad was struggling to bring it up, and our neighbours from the 9th floor, actually, they were Muslims, were going to pray. And when they saw what we were doing, they literally stopped what they were doing, helped us get it into our house, and it blew me away. So there is a sense, whenever you're in need, people are willing and open their arms to you. People help one another. And the market, Crisp Street Market, whenever I go there, I see 1 or 2 relatives each and every time. I meet friends and aunties, people you don't expect to meet. You just see them. Oh, hey, what's up? The market brings people back. My cousin used to live in Poplar. She moved to Stratford, but she still used to come back to the market to get her stuff. Each and every time Muslims are fasting, they have Ramadan, and the feast after, they come to our door and give us food. They know we're not Muslim, but they come and give us food and stuff like that. For me, there is this hidden communities. We still relate with one another. For me, it's all one. The boy with the laugh shouts yes in agreement with what has just been said, and then giggles, and then everyone else giggles. We ask the question, what are the changes you want to see? In his quiet, confident way, the boy in the white hat says, so what I have here is the change I want to see is less violence, peace. I feel like recently stories going around the internet where different issues were going around the world, especially in Africa, people being kidnapped and killed in Africa and Nigeria, South Africa. Innocent lives were shed, killed, stuff like that. What I want to see is peace in the world. Peace all over the world. I know that will be really hard, but if there was peace, I would love it. And also, more youth centres. Whenever I talk to my friends, I tell them I've got my meetings. I have to explain what it is, what we do, stuff like that. I feel like if we had more centres, like across the world, it would encourage the youth to be active and creative and all stuff like this. I want more youth centres and peace in the world. Yes, is shouted in agreement by the boy with the laugh. And everyone else agrees too. Well, there we have it. We're now at the end of part 1, People and Animals. Thank you so much for taking the time and listening today. Really appreciate it. Part 2, Safe and Sound, and Part 3, Love and Livability are coming up. So if you like this one, give them a go. If you didn't like this one, you might like them because they're slightly different. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Speak to you soon. You, Me, the World and Poplar was a project delivered by Take Stock Exchange and Poplar Union. You can join the conversation by going to takestockexchange.co.uk, where you can leave your comments, thoughts and feedback, or simply answer this question. What will you take away from this episode? I look forward to seeing what you have to say. We'd like to thank all of the participants and groups that took part in this project. We usually meet in person, but at this difficult time we made it happen remotely. Funding for this project came from Arts Council England, Poplar Harker and Poplar Union. The project was conceived and delivered by Take Stock Exchange, Nick Kassenbaum, Eleanor Clack, Ollie Hawes and Anna Smith. Music and sound was by Anna Lowenstein and the audio was mixed by Naomi Jackson. We've got some big thank yous to Isabel Coutinho, Moena Johnson, Beth Watton, Babu Batashaji, John Geeson, Ted Maxwell, Mary Osborne, Cheryl Gallagher, Mandy Phil and Bertie Casson, Poplar Harker and Poplar Union. And again, we'd like to thank the participants of the workshops, the organisers of each group we worked with and the community of Poplar. You can find out more about our work at takestockexchange.co.uk or feel free to get in touch at hello@takestockexchange.co.uk. Thank you very much for listening.